Morning. It's Saturday, November 23rd. And it's a wonderful thing when people perform above the criteria that exists for them. So there are many people who have performed heroic acts and done wonderful things. And then as life progresses, these people seem to deteriorate. They seem to have fallen into some chasm and they forget how great they were at one point in time. And they make a couple of major mistakes in their life. And it's a sad thing to see that when you've had somebody who performed a heroic act at some point in time and saved many people. And I'm talking about Rudy Giuliani, who performed marvelously as the mayor of New York City during the attack of 9/11. And now Rudy has been convicted of defamation of character of two election workers. And he has been fined $150 million. And there's no reason to doubt that he defamed the election worker. But don't you think $150 million, a fine of that type, is excessive? I don't know if Rudy Giuliani has $150 million. I doubt it. He may be a multimillionaire, but $150 million is a lot more money. And Rudy, as you well know, has a drinking problem, and his life has been destroyed because he chose to be a henchman associated with Donald Trump. So I think this fine is excessive, crazy, absolutely crazy, out of this world. And it seems like every time I hear about a case like this, the fines are outrageous. You know, a couple $1 million is one thing, but $150 million because he questioned the character of a couple of people, and he maybe even made them very upset, and maybe what he said was all lies and everything, but that's a lot of money, $150 million. And I don't feel sorry for Giuliani because apparently he's become an alcoholic and he let his whole life slip away and he's done some other not nice things. And I don't want to get into that. I don't want to defame him. I don't want to get sued. I don't have $150 million, so I can't afford to get sued by anybody. And now Rudy has declared bankruptcy, which was to be expected. When you get fined an immense amount of money that I'm sure that he doesn't really have, counting all his properties and everything else that he made, he doesn't have $150 million. So of course he's going to declare bankruptcy. And then what happens after he declares bankruptcy? These people get nothing, or else they'll get a pittance. So the fines in this country have to be calculated much more intelligently than they are. Why did it have to be $150 million? Why couldn't it have been $10 million or $15 million? Yes, these characters, the characters of these workers was defamed. And that may have cost them their jobs, or it may have cost them a lot of embarrassment, etc. And it may have upset their lives for a couple of days or a couple of weeks. But people overcome those things. People get better. And if you get $150 million verdict in your favor, then you certainly should feel a hell of a lot better. But if you're not going to collect it because the guy went bankruptcy, how does that make you feel? Pretty stupid, I would think. So I'm sure if they went to the people and they said, settle for $10 million and you'll get the money. But if you go for $150 million, you're not getting a dime. And maybe they don't care. Maybe it's a point. Maybe they're making a point that he has been punished beyond the norm. Maybe that's what makes the fine what it is. Not that they expect to collect it, but just the mere fact that he was fined that much money was important to them. They probably didn't lose their jobs or anything. And maybe they were uncomfortable for a couple of weeks. So now what they've done is made his life miserable and uncomfortable. And maybe that's revenge. Maybe that's what this whole thing is all about. Getting even even because he acted stupidly and he thought he could get away with it. And actually, everybody who watched him during that period of time when he and Sidney Powell were fighting for Donald Trump and his election lies. So maybe that's the reason the fine was so big. And maybe that fine was big because they were pointing a finger at Donald Trump also. Typically, the women who sued Giuliani and won would have to wait 30 days to begin attempting to claim his asset. But Judge Howell of the D.C. District Court, who oversaw the high-profile trial last week, gave the attorneys of the women, Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman, the ability to attempt to collect the money on Wednesday. Giuliani, the judge said, had escaped revealing his worth by refusing to turn over evidence he had in the case before trial. And he never acknowledged previous court orders for him to reimburse the women for his attorney fees. And he repeatedly claimed that he was broke and the verdict against him would severely hurt him. So meanwhile, Giuliani is claiming to be poor, but he has a spokesman that accompanies him to the trial every single day. And part of the case was that the women claimed they suffered emotional and reputational damage. Meanwhile, Giuliani's apartment has been listed on sale for $6.1 million. And the lawyers have also noted that he has a new deal for a Newsmax streaming show that may indicate some income, in addition to other media appearances that he makes. So if he's making media appearances, he's not doing that for nothing. So he's getting plenty of money. Even though I think that $150 million verdict is excessive, and I think that Giuliani is lying through his teeth about his net worth. And that alone should be penalized. Bottom line, the mother and daughter claimed that they have suffered emotional and reputational harm, and they have had their safety put in danger after Giuliani singled them out when he made the false claims about ballot tampering in Georgia. And respect to the money, Giuliani agreed the court's final judgment would make clear he owes the women $146 million, plus more than $237,000 in attorney fees. The agreement slightly reduced the jury verdict because Morse and Freeman previously settled another part of the lawsuit against the One America News Network and others. And the women sued Giuliani a second time to ask the federal judge to permanently prohibit him from lying about them because he has continued to make false statements about their work as absentee ballot counters in the 2020 election. So Giuliani dug himself a great big hole, and it's probably going to cost him a fortune, and he's trying to escape with the usual run of the bankruptcy court. And in my money, Giuliani has fallen tremendously over the years. And there's nobody to blame but himself. So most of the charges that I think that are being brought against him are valid. And I leave you with that this morning. Have a great day. Bye.